Hey there, we're back. We're back. So now we're going to tell you how to select these watermelons. We're going to see if you remember what we told you. We're going to apply what you learned, and we're going to tell you about selecting a really good watermelon when you visit a field. And so that's the first situation we want to talk about is you drive up to a grower's field and you're going to select a really, really good watermelon. So how would you go about doing that? There's been a few questions asked a while ago. Quite a few about a blue watermelon. We don't have a blue watermelon per se, but we have what we call black diamond. You know, black diamond, everybody remembers years ago. Oh, my mama had a black diamond and it was the best ever. Well, there's a lot better watermelon varieties today than those dark skinned ones. And so one of the more common ones you'll see today is one called Sugar Baby. It has a dark skin, and so that would be a possibility. So the first thing we want to do is we want to rehash how you tell when a watermelon is ripe. And so we're looking at Jubilees here. There was a question a while ago about Charleston Grays turning black on the end. This is what this is, turning black on the end, and what that is, that's either blossom end rot, and that's a lack of calcium. The plants were not able to take up enough calcium from the soil, and that can be from the soil being either too wet or too dry. Either one of those types of situations will create this event right here. So when you have these form on your vines, what you want to do is immediately cut them off and throw them away because they're not going to be of any value to you. The other reason that you can see this is lack of pollination. You know, we talked about 15 visits by the bee to each flower. Well, a lot of times in this situation, that did not happen. So the other thing we were talking about is the tendril, where the tendril turns brown. And so this is the tendril that we're talking about right here. And so this would be opposite from where the melon was attached to the plant. And so that's one of the telltale signs is when that little tendril turns brown. Here it is on a green plant. You know, here's your little tendril there, it's green. And so when it turns brown, then we know that we're getting close to being ripe. After you see the brown tendril, the next thing you do is you turn the melon over and check out the ground spot, the spot where the melon was in contact with the soil. If it's a creamy color, you know, we're pretty sure that we're there. The other thing is most melons are 85, 90 days after planting, so you know when you plant it, 85 to 90 days, then you know you need to be checking. The other thing you need to do is look at the stripe patterns. See how wide these stripes are? And then you check out this other melon right here, you notice that the stripes are not nearly as wide, And so those stripes fill out totally when the melon is actually ripe. And so this one is fully developed and ready to go. And then the last thing that you can do if you want to impress people, you've checked out all this other stuff, the tendril's brown, got the creamy color, and so you go out there and you go. So you hear that thump, thump, thump. It's a dull sound, kind of dull. Not a sharp. Now listen to this one. Listen really close. It's much higher pitch. Much higher pitch. You hear that? Much higher pitch. Then listen to this one. It's much duller, much duller. Now, this one here is ideal. Absolutely superb. But when they get super dull, the fruit are overripe, and so you don't want to select those as well. I mean, if the melons are out there and they're not picking them on time, then you're going to get some of that. So, sharp, ringing sound, slight dull sound. So you can impress your friends next time you see them when you go to a field. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is you're going to go to the grocery store. You're going to go to the grocery store and you want to pick out the best melon. And unfortunately, that can be a challenge at times because, you know, you don't know. Melons are picked based on the market. When the market's high, they're going to pick them a little bit early to get on the market to get a better price. And so that is a challenge that we often have. So one of the ways that you get around that is when you go to the grocery store, they have them pre-cut. And so you can evaluate the melon and you can see that it's dead ripe there. Remember when we were talking a while ago about the black seed? Here's a black seed in there, and so that's why we can't call them seedless. And here are the rudimentary seed right here. And you have to have these rudimentary seeds to produce the hormones to make the flesh develop. So this is one way that you can select an ideal quality watermelon. You can actually view it in the store. And then the other thing is you can use the knowledge that you learned today, and you see the ground spot here, it's a cream color, and so we're pretty sure it's right. And then just to impress yourself, you're going to go ahead and thump it, and it sounds pretty much like that one did a while ago. And so we're going to cut this one here in a second and show you exactly what we got there, see if we did a good job, and so we'll go from there. So that's watermelons. The other thing we want to touch a little bit on is cantaloupes again, muskmelons. We grow muskmelons in Texas, and ideally these muskmelons of size from the plant. You see it? See this right here? You see the stem in there? You see how it's coming off? So when you grow muskmelons in your garden, wherever, you let these melons actually upsize. You see how that just falls off? Just falls off there. And so we know that cantaloupe is dead right. And if we could only send smell through the microphone here, you would smell a tremendous smell, musky smell. Notice these here have all slipped. You notice a rough net on these. It appears that the rougher the net, typically the better the quality. And so that's what you look for when you're looking for a really, really good cantaloupe muskmelon. Firm, a lot of good net. And then you want to be aware of these that at times have a soft spot. You see the soft spot right there? And so don't just pick one up and throw it in the basket. Sometimes they have these soft spots. This is where the cantaloupe was in contact with the ground, stayed a little bit too wet. And so this one here, you could still eat it. It would be really good, but it would be a little bit soft. So here is another cantaloupe here. It has not come off the deal, so be patient. You know, they turn yellow, but you got to be patient, let them upsize, and then they'll be really, really good. So those of you looking for a special treat this 4th of July, here is a small little cantaloupe that you grew. And so what you do is you cut this in half, cut it in half, scoop the seeds out, and you put you a big scoop of Bluebell vanilla ice cream right there in the center. Enjoy it. It will really be a treat. So check that out. That works really good. Last thing we're going to do this afternoon is we're going to cut our seedless watermelon here. See what kind of job we did picking it out. Typically when I cut them, I cut the whole thing. As a kid growing up, we had cross sections like this. Cut them, cut them, cut them, and then you could break it in your hand. Today, most people, when they cut a watermelon, they cut it totally in half. And voila, there you go. And so having said that, let's see what kind of job, if the market was high or low when they picked this particular watermelon. Got good sugar content. It's a little bit not as red as I might have liked, but then again, the quality is still there. So do your homework when you go to the grocery store to pick out your July 4th watermelon. And
which one's sweeter, seeds or seedless?
Good question. I'm glad y'all asked that question. The question is, are seedless melons typically sweeter than our diploid melons? This is a diploid melon right here. And over all the years when we did our test, the diploid seeded watermelons are always sweeter typically than the triploid watermelons. So if you like seed, if you like a big melon, the big melons are really a really good buy because they have a lot of sugar. And so typically the seeded melons are the best quality ones as far as sweetness goes. They're about the same, but typically these can be sweeter. Any other questions?
Can you hand pollinate melons?
Question is, can you hand pollinate melons? So you have melons that are falling off, they're not setting. Can you take a little paintbrush out there and go from flower to flower? Indeed you can, indeed you can. But remember, 15 times, 15 times. So you go to male flower, back to female. Male, back to the same female. 15 times you have to do that. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you for tuning in today. Hope you have a wonderful 4th of July. As we say in Alsatian, mosky it, make it good. So have a grand and safe 4th of July. And by all means, have a slice of watermelon tomorrow in honor of our country and a great snack. See you next time.